Hello again, everyone. I'm here for part 2 of my Fragments journals flip through. And the first video, I went through this journal, which I will link the video down below for that one. And this one just was taking so long because there are a ton of pages in here, and just to kind of explain what several of the pages are, I decided to split this video up. So this is 2 where I'm going through this second book, and there are some fun things to talk about with this as well. But like I said, I'll put the link to that prior video down below. So this, I'm still trying to figure out what kind of a closure I want to do here. I was thinking maybe a button here and then a cloth on the back, or a ribbon on the back. So just I'm just keeping it together with this little, what do you call this, a bulldog clip? Is that what you call it? I think so. Those, I have a bunch of big ones actually because they're really useful for cyanotypes. Okay, so this cover, basically I had an empty watercolor spiral bound notebook. I just took the back of that off and then folded it in half. I don't recommend this actually for book making because it, as you can see, it does not stay closed. My original thought was to cut it and then put a spine on here. And then when I folded it, it was kind of just the perfect size for the papers that I was using. Some do stick out, but I like that look. So I decided to do this, and then I only have one signature in here, and then that I sewed to the spine here, and then I covered that with bookbinding tape, and it worked pretty well. And then this is a piece of ephemera from one of the newer Tim Holtz ephemera packs. They're really, really great. Go ahead and take a look. I'm going to get more of them because I'm using them so often. But I thought it looked really nice on this cover because the theme of both this one and the one I did in the prior video is more of a botanical nature theme. So I decided that this was a great cover. And I do really like the fact that I left the spiral holes, the spiral bound holes, because I think it kind of adds an additional fun element to the front. And like I said, I think what I'm going to do, because I was thinking, oh, I could just hold it closed with a bulldog clip, but this doesn't even, it's a little too tight and it just popped right off over here. I could only keep it at the bottom. So I think I will do the button thing and just put a button right here and then a string here, and then I can just wrap it around. But that is yet to be done. The back is just very plain. I haven't decided if I want to put something else on there yet. And you can even see, like, I clearly had cut things on top of this, the back of this notebook. And so I'm just going to leave that, you know, and this is kind of it's almost like a junk journal. You know, you're using your junk up. All right, I didn't put a fabric cover on this one like I did with the last one, but I did have another one of the same kind of papers that I had done in a different course. Oh, and I wanted to say one of the reasons why I put the bookbinding tape on the outside is because when I folded it, some of it was sort of like cracking here on the spine, and when I punched the holes, it was also cracking in a little bit of those areas, so I figured this would reinforce it. And on the inside, it seems to be doing fine, so I wasn't going to worry about that. So let's go. This one's a little shorter than the other one, so this shouldn't be as long of a video. So basically in here, there's a bunch of ephemera, papers I made in fodder school, papers I made outside of fodder school, little bits of purchased ephemera, vintage things, fabric, that sort of thing. So I really thought it was fun. And this was a piece of paper that I made in fodder school. And then I had taken little squares out and made some art with the squares. And I thought, well, now I can use this paper as like a little window to see what's behind. And I think it worked out really well. So there's that. And then it's this sheet of, what is this? This is like a stiffer folder that I put stuff on. But I thought it was really kind of nice because you can see this side and then you can see this side from here, and it's all different, which is kind of cool. I have one in the back too, same kind of thing, because it's, you know, this is wrapped around to the back. But I don't have anything on that one, that blue sheet of paper, so I'm kind of figuring out what to do with that. And these were little test prints of some rubber stamps that I carved. So I thought those looked nice in there, going with the botanical theme. And again, little bits of Tim Holtz ephemera. I love the little birds he has in his new pack. Love them. And like I was saying in the last video, it's really kind of cool to think about how all these different elements from all the different pages, because they're not all the same size, are going to show up together. And so it was really kind of fun to figure out, you know, what it would look like when you have all these layered up. And then here's this one. And this I did recently. It was just a little, this is some of that Daniel Smith gouache, because I had like a little bit of writing on the side of this piece of paper that I wanted to cover up. So gouache is opaque, so I did that, and then I watered some of it out to just kind of blend into the page there. There's that. This is one of the more, I would say, unfinished papers or pages, so we'll see what to do with that. Like this was just paint. It was like a background of some kind that I had painted, and then I put bubble wrap on, I put paint on bubble wrap and then pressed it here. This is a jelly print, maybe using a stencil, I don't remember. And then this was a string print. So basically you dip a piece of string, so you like loop around a piece of string, you dip the end of it into ink, and then you very quickly put it between two pieces of paper, and then you pull it, and it creates all these sort of like little tulip flower type shapes. That's probably more like a lily than a tulip, but it made some cool stuff. But again, this was like a one-off that I did years ago, and it was just sitting around waiting for some use. And I really like how all the different papers from all these different classes and methods and, you know, things I just did to try things out all really work together really well. And here I was kind of happy that I was able to show the the back of this envelope, because the back of the envelope had some fun texture on it as well. And again, these are Tim Holtz ephemera. They're really, really beautiful. This was a watercolor swatch sheet that I did. I had originally labeled it with the names, and I decided to cover those up with some gold marker. But I really loved the color mixes, and the colors, you know, go really well on this page, I think. But I tried to pull out some different colors, like this is yellow and red, and this is yellow and red. And I think, I don't know, this was maybe some stenciling I did. You know, some papers I will use again and again if I didn't like them, and I'll just kind of layer on top of them. And some of them end up really interesting, and some of them don't. And a lot of these I considered not interesting, but together I think they really do make some interesting combos on these pages. So here is another one of these with a little window, but instead of going to the other side, because the paper behind it is cut off in two, you can see it here with this half square over here, but I decided to put a little bit of an assemblage beneath here so that you would see this, and then on the other side you would see the back. But again, like here, I haven't put anything. It's just some blue on a folder. And I think earlier there was the actual stamping, and this was the original sketch that I did for that stamp. I wasn't using them, so this is a great place to display them. And let's see, these are some Tim Holtz stamps. I've really been liking this little nest stamp. I've been putting it on a lot of things. This is a shaving cream print. I think I talked about that in the last video, but if you're interested in that, I would recommend, you know, taking a look elsewhere. Oh, and I just realized there's some bleed through from the back of that page on the other side, because this is a sketch that I did for another stamp that I made, hand carved. And I thought it looked really nice here, but I didn't realize you could see the back of it. So I'll probably put something there to cover that up. Here's some dyed papers and fabric, all kinds of fun things in here. This was in a watercolor class I took where we were trying to figure out how to do blends and overlap colors and stuff like that. So I didn't want to have a lot of watercolor paper in here because watercolor paper is pretty thick. So I think this is the only one I have in there. And this was another class. This is just mark making with acrylic paint. And more mark making with acrylic paint. This was jelly print. And this page is very unfinished, and I'm really not happy with the way it is right now, so I'm going to try and figure out what to do. This paper is one, this is just like a mark making paper that I made with acrylic paint. I've never really liked it very much, and then I keep trying to use it in things and then it never really works. So so I may just end up covering it up or pulling it off or whatever to make this page work, because I just feel like this page is, it's just a couple of things pasted onto a page and it's not really doing anything for me. But I don't want to cover up this because I love this piece of paper, so we'll see what I could do with that. Another piece of mark making paper, some things that I did with a stencil, and more stenciling and then drawing over with ink. And then this page is really fragile. I might end up having to tape this page together because it is already ripped a little at the top. It's a vintage music sheet, and those, I have them all in a book that's really kind of quite fragile. This is actually a photocopy. It is a laser photocopy of a close-up picture of one of my watercolor explorations. And I printed that because I really did like the zoomed in image. So, but I wasn't really using it, so I thought it would be good in here. And again, here's the middle page, and I'm not quite sure what to do with this side. I really love this dyed paper, but I don't know what to do with the other side yet. And here's the other side of that watercolor copy. And these, I think this was a print I did with wallpaper or something. Can't quite remember. And this was like a little doodle that I did in a class where flowers were kind of the theme. Here's another sort of ghost stamp of that hand-carved stamp that I did. I don't know if I want to put something here to kind of cover up the fact that this is torn, or just leave the matte paper. Not sure yet. Okay. And this paper was clearly shorter, so I just added some other things to extend it, but I didn't extend it all the way down to the bottom. I may end up doing that eventually, but I just couldn't figure out what to do with that. Another semi-unfinished page. This is bleed through from I think a page I had under this paper, actually, because I don't think it's, no, it's not the same as what's on the other side. Yeah, I think another piece of paper got stuck to it, and that's the image that transferred. Oops, I skipped ahead there. And this is that same piece of watercolor paper that was on the other side. I don't do a lot of things in yellow and orange, but I think I should focus on that a little bit more, because I do, especially this deep orange color, I've really been liking it, but I do like the dark orange with the lighter orange here. And then this is a piece of paper from the book Watership Down, and then I dyed over it. A lot of this is dyed paper. That's that shaving cream print. These are little scraps of paper from a journal I made. Again, this is a test print of one of my hand-carved stamps. And then there's that blue folder paper. This was, I don't even know what this was. I think this was sort of an exploration of jelly print with some ink on top, trying to see how ink would flow. But it's not really much on its own, but I think as the composition, it kind of makes a nice image. And then here's that other half of that square that pokes through. And this, I think, is just stenciled image. I don't know why it's so fuzzy, but I probably was trying some other method. I try a lot of different things, and then sometimes they don't work out that great. But like I said, in the context of this, it's really nice to be able to use them. But this, again, is on another piece of Watership Down book, and this piece I split in half. You'll see here in a minute. So on the other side of this, there is the other side of that. Oh, this is watercolor paper too, I guess. The other side of those swatches, and then a little bit of fabric, and then you can, the print, the dyeing actually went through to the other side, so I kind of like that hanging down at the bottom. And then here's the other side. I'm not sure if I want to put more down here. And this is another one of those Tim Holtz ephemera things, which I thought looked really cool there. And Yeah, just a whole mess of stuff together. And I also think that this is a really good exercise in composition too. Like I can see what doesn't really work and what does work. Like this, maybe was that the best place to put that? Maybe not. But now, I've learned that, and maybe I can change the composition for other things here. But yeah, I would recommend that if you make a bunch of different kinds of collage papers, never throw anything away. Seriously, at some point you will find a use for it. And paper's pretty thin. You can put it in a box or whatever and it'll stay there. Okay, so this on the other side is a little mark making sheet of paper. And then here I just put one of those Tim Holtz frames here, just around the circle. Again, I'm not sure what I'm going to put on the rest of it, if anything, but I really kind of liked how that framed the square that had been cut out of this side. And I'm not sure if I want to put something on this side too, but we'll figure that out. Yeah, so that's it. That is the end of the book. And like I said, this side is just plain, so there's nothing to see there other than the like the little numbering system on the back. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. For now, I'm gonna try and clip this back together at the bottom just so that it doesn't spring open, and then I'll figure out the closure. So that wraps up part 2 of 2 of my Fragments journals. Again, I will put the link to the class, assuming it's still available, down below. It's a free course. It just was so fun, and I mean, the course is really just the instructor kind of playing and making her book, but it really, really was quite inspiring. And I think this is a similar concept to junk journaling. I've never really been a junk journaler, probably because of my perception of junk journaling being more sort of pre-made papers put in and nothing else. But blending pre-made papers with my art papers and everything, making this a little more unique, definitely appeals to me a lot more. But I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.